In this lesson, let's talk about presentation preferences. So we can get there a couple ways, actually, more than a couple ways. So I'm going to get out of mirror mode just so that way we can see all the ways. We can go to preferences here and access our presentation preferences. We can click on the pillar icon in presentation preview and select presence. Or we can be in presentation and select preferences as well. So what are our preferences available? So first, generally, if we want to log what we've put on display, we can create a log presentation file, select it, select the path where we want it to save, and then we can view the log at any time. It just tells us what we've put onto our presentation screen. Display. If judge and jury's version is showing on your version and what's showing should be showing on your PC, like the evidence area is showing on another monitor, you can switch them here. Appearances. So we have the classic theme. We have a light theme, so a whitish gray color. We also have a glass theme, so it kind of is blue with like this little glass thing here. It's up to you what you want to do. I keep it on our classic black. We also have ones adjusted for projectors if it is going to go on a projector. We can do a reflection at the bottom of a document. So if you want it to be like it's on water on display, we can change the intensity level of that as well. We can also make it the star on Broadway. We can add a spotlight to the bottom of it and again also change that brightness level. We can choose our own background. So if you are working or are a jury consultant or a presentation consultant and you want a different background, maybe a blue background, maybe there's a seal that you want to have somewhere on there to show when things aren't on the screen, you can navigate out to that background image. Be mindful you don't want to have something that's distracting. Toolbar preferences. We can hide that toolbar. We can show tooltips. That means when I'm hover over something, it tells me what it is. Show navigation tree view folders for those folders that we have, the folder structure. Do you want to see that tree view? Show user feedback. That's the bottom right-hand corner. When we type in something, you see what I'm typing. That's user feedback. I always keep that on no matter what. The reason I like to keep it on is because that way I know what I'm typing in. And if I messed up something, I can catch it before I press enter, or, I've seen kind of what I typed in accidentally. Navigation menu height, when we pull up those menus for the folders or the documents within those folders and those workbooks, how many do we want to see at a time? And then zone indicator size, when you hover over our zone indicator tool in the bottom right-hand corner, what's the magnification on it? I have it set to 10. It's great for presentation. It's also just great to see. Toolbar options, you have the desktop smaller toolbar or a tablet toolbar. I have my presentation on tablet just because it's easier for you guys to see while I'm training. You can keep it on desktop toolbar. If you need it a little bit bigger, you can change it to tablet. Zone transitions, when I'm moving from one zone to another. Do I want that transfer speed faster or smoother? Do I want any fading? Do I want it fast or smooth? Kind of like a presentation or a PowerPoint presentation. How do you kind of want those transitions to be? Default zone mode, replace or push. Replace means that if I select zone 2 and I enter a new document, so exhibit 2, enter, it's going to replace the current document, which is exhibit 7, page 2. If I push, I can have that document pushed from zone 2 to zone 1 or from zone 1 out and kind of do a dual document thing. So I have 2 documents off. One's pushed to the side. You still see 2. It's just one's pushed to the side, whereas you formerly saw 1. I don't like push zone, especially as my default. Once I'm done with a document, I'm done. If I needed 2 pages up on the screen, I would have pulled one up in zone 1, pulled one up in zone 2. I don't need that push, but you can change it that way. Default zone placement, where do you want your document to just default if you don't already have something selected? It can be any of those zones. Obviously, zone 9 is the largest area. That's where we have it defaulted. Caption boxes, you see at the top of our documents and our video, it is the item ID. We can switch it to be exhibit number or trial exhibit number or non-existent. For our exhibits, multi-page or single page, do you want to be able to scroll? Do you want to be able to use the mouse on your scroller, or do you want to call it up as a single image per page in the document? I like multi-page view. Digital video transcripts, how do we want to see these? I have it set to classic right now, so I have a bigger video, less text. Classic 2, more text, slightly smaller video. Closed caption where it doesn't cover up the video. Multimedia only, so it's just the video playing, no text. Transcript only, the video's playing, the audio's playing, but you don't see the video. Media overlay 1, kind of like a picture-in-picture, and then with overlay kind of at the bottom for the video. Both classic media overlay 1 and 2, as well as transcript only, will allow you to highlight the text. So you can use the synchronization highlighting. It can be simple, it can be a color bar, and then you can change the color as well as how many highlights lines do you want. So if I had it set to 2, I could do simple highlight, which is just kind of like a black and white version, or color bar, change it to color, hit OK, and I want 3, 5. How many do I want highlighted? I'm going to just do 3. I can show segment indicator if I want to show how many segments there are to my clip, and I can show true clip time on there as well if I wanted to. Enable synchronized exhibits. If the judge says, nope, can't have them, but you already put them in, you can just deselect this, and then it won't play any of them. Display synchronized exhibit in the same zone, so it replaces the video, or use a defined zone. So I have my synchronized exhibit going to 2, video going to 1, or I can switch it to where my document goes to 1, video goes to 2. I can change this to any zone I want, however I want to place it. Transcripts options. Do we want to show page and line numbers? Show line numbers, don't show them. How do I want my fonts? If I do closed caption, what font do I want there? Startup behavior. When I pull up a video clip, do I want it to automatically play or start on a pause and I push play? Same with ending. Do I want it to pause at the end or do I want it to close out completely? Transition, do I want it to fade to black? Do I want it to whitewash? How do I want that fade to be? And then my transitions and then any kind of adjustment in my start and end time for my segments. I can give a little buffer room there as well. Multimedia, if I'm just playing multimedia, do I want to start on a pause or an automatic play? Same with the behavior shutdown that we saw with the DVTs. And then facade, classic is just our traditional, box. Glass gives it a little bit, actually we'll show you. All right, and then we'll call, what is it, SCO3, is that what we called it? Let's see what we called it. That's not one. What do we call our multimedia? Let's pull up multimedia. TSCO1, we'll pull it in the middle. This is the glass theme, so it kind of has a edge around it, so to speak, right? If we're going to go back to preferences, we also have one where it makes it look like a TV, so if you want a TV around it, you can do that as well. We're right here, that was glass. This is vintage, that's the TV one. We'll call this back up again, and it looks like a TV. It's up to you how you want it. Probably the default is where you want to be. You could do the outline of the glass if you wanted to. Let's turn this off. There we go, back to classic. And then do we want that in multimedia time? Transcripts, if we're just showing our transcripts, what font do we want? Carousels, if we're working with a carousel workbook, if where the workbook is going to be kind of shown in a carousel way, you can see the other 2 pages, the next 2 pages. Do I want them brighter or darker? Do I want the opacity brighter or darker? This just allows me to change some of those settings in carousel. And then the transition speed, do I want it smoother or faster? If I do any native documents, do I want to hide the title bar or the scroll bar either for Word or PowerPoint? Tools here. Do I want a particular default tool? Classic projection, zoom select, tear out, highlighter, class projection used. Do I want to change the thickness of my arrows and my annotations? I can change that, as well as the redaction thickness. Do I want to show border, add redacted text? If I want to load my custom stamps, which we talked about, I can use a custom set, browse out to that folder that has them. Save stages, if I don't like how save stage saves the name, I can change the name here with a prefix. And then how do I want those projection zooms to be? Do I want to have that projection? Do I want it offset? Do I want it to kind of animate it like it's pulling out? Hotkeys. We have hotkeys associated with a few. We've talked about some of them, like Alt P is play pause media. We have our F items that set the zones. We have a lot more. Anything that is blank can be coded. So if we want to make this Alt X, all we have to do is select it, hit Alt X, and that makes the new one. If I wanted this Alt C, I can make that one Alt C. I can clear something. So if I don't like it Alt C, I can clear it. I can show a notepad. So if I want to print it out a hard copy, here's my hard copy, right? I can clear it, reset to defaults, and then we'll hit OK, cancel. Those are preferences in presentation. Thank you so much for attending.